Alright, hello everyone. Let's play some Chess960. What to do? I'm gonna play e4. Okay, now I could play b3 in order to get this bishop going. Pancake again. Played against this same opponent. I guess yesterday maybe. I can't remember exactly. Nor can I actually remember how the game went, but okay, let's focus to this game. Knight f3 seems good enough. Maybe d4 is the idea. Then go with the knight to d3. I possibly want to castle short here. Okay, my opponent seems to want to stop d4. Which probably is a good idea from him. Or her, but okay. Should I play knight to d3 now? Also, where should I go with this bishop? Well, moving the queen out of the way to c4 doesn't really seem like a good idea. Knight gets here. It's all messy, so maybe I actually don't castle short, but instead I go for the castle's long plan. Well, I'm a bit sleepy. I'm gonna play queen here, obviously, to protect the pawn. But it seems that I'm gonna lose a pawn. Wow, okay then. I guess not. Because my opponent did that. I mean, knight to d6, and how I'm gonna protect this guy? There isn't a way. I guess knight b2. Quite bad, but I have to play d3, I guess. Get my knight to c4 and possibly here, or... Or just to try and do nasty things to the d6 square, but okay. Now that my opponent did that, I'm gonna take it and then play maybe knight c4. If I play c4, knight b4, maybe it's a... Oh yes, there's also the possibility to knight f4. Which means that I probably want to castle now. Sure. Okay, castle like this. Never mind. Okay. I guess I want to do this. Attack that knight and have the possibility to play knight e3 perhaps. Well, In some situations I may have wanted to play knight d3, but the possibility of e4 is not to my liking, and of course d4 actually now seems like a good idea. Wow. I'm gonna play d4, obviously, since this pawn is pinned. And it does seem like a good call in other variations as well. Well, knight takes c4. If queen takes, then my opponent can take this pawn without much worries, I guess. So maybe I just take with the pawn, attack the knight, and then take on e5. I think that might be a good idea, but here obviously e4 is a possibility. Well, actually no, because knight takes d6 check. So not really a thing that should be done. Okay, not sure what my opponent will do. Okay, knight here, there, knight f4 might be a good idea, I guess. Queen to e1. Is a possibility. Because I kind of want to stay on the e file and pin the e pawn. Don't want to go here because of knight f5, obviously. So queen to e1 seems the only move. And unless my opponent there's something I can take next on, something like that, which stops me taking taking the pawn on e5. Okay then. Maybe bishop takes f3 now is a possibility. But then bishop takes, and well, I'm reasonably happy with that position. So maybe actually the move e4 comes into question. Knight d2 is almost forced there, and not really sure what happens in this game, but I think I'm doing quite well so far. Of course I don't like these doubled pawns, but I guess f5 next in order to protect this guy. I do have the idea of playing d5 myself. That might, in some situations, lead into b5, which would undermine this pawn. And since it's the only thing that would protect the d5 pawn, might be in some trouble after that, so maybe I won't play d5, maybe a4, trying to control the b5 square. I mean, I'm threatening to take on e4 now. Well, that's a bit unexpected, I think. Okay. Should I play? No. Thought about g3, but knight h3 check is a bit annoying. Not sure what my plan ought to be. Maybe I just go here. Try to play rook e1. Things like that. Followed by f3 or something. At least in time I'm doing quite well. And takes there. Okay, I think bishop takes. Here and now. I could go for c5, sorry. Should I play f3 now? Maybe rook to e8 or f5 is good there. So maybe I just play c5, but there b5 is possible, and not sure what I'm gaining there, so I think I'm gonna do this, put some more pressure to the e4 pawn. If I'm assuming either rook to e8 or f5. Though f5 does open this diagonal a bit for my bishop, so probably isn't a good idea. And of course I have to activate this somehow, maybe play c3 and bishop b3. Then c5 would be a threat. But of course I would like to get rid of this knight before I play c3, otherwise knight d3 is a annoying move. Should I play g3 now? I think so. Well, knight h3 is the likely move for the knight. Well, king g2 should be okay, at least for now. Will my opponent go for the f3 square? Probably not. Should I? I think I'm gonna follow my plan, c3, bishop b3, and perhaps c5. There's also maybe possibility of bishop c2, but there f5 and, well, maybe I'm not doing so well there. Actually, I should have driven the knight away again, because now the queen might do that, and that's a bit problematic. But is queen h3 actually a threat? Or can I actually ignore it? It's I will ignore it and play bishop to b3 instead. I mean, playing g4 or something would have been rather risky in my opinion. Now I have to be careful. Wow, actually I have to go to h1, otherwise I'm completely lost. Wow. Knight f3, strongest move here. Knight takes, pawn takes. Threatening mate and the queen at the same time, but I figured that I can take here, rook takes, king here, and save this, but I do lose some considerable amount of material there. So maybe I should play c5 check here first. Yeah. Well, actually probably not. Well, actually, yeah. And actually taking on f3 is a very bad idea, so knight to f1 holds for now. Wow. I'm hanging on. Barely. I'm glad that I found knight f1, otherwise all of this would have been losing for me. Wait, what did my opponent take there? Rook, I guess. Oh well. Didn't even notice that. I'm... Wow. Well... The queen on h3 is a bit out of play, but of course... Have to make sure that this long diagonal doesn't open up. So... What can I do? Maybe c6. First take here and then check here is the plan. Of course it's not a check now, but maybe I will do that regardless. My opponent will get a pawn back. Okay. I'm gonna pin the rook for now. Have to move fast and try not to lose. Pawn here, knight here. I'm gonna get the exchange. Probably not. e3. Wow. Get out of check. Take this guy. Wow, I have to move very quickly. I'm just losing obviously, but yeah, okay. Lost on time. Unfortunate. Wow. Unbelievable. Somewhere there I just started to use too much time. Let's see now. Let's see the computer analysis of this game. I mean, I did play quite awful. Chess960 again. I mean, wow. Okay, did... So b3, most common move. Okay, it's certainly a good move to open the game with. e4, the second most common. However, I'm not sure that the e4 move is as good as I thought. Maybe play b3 and then c4, but yeah, it's hard to develop the bishop. But okay, so knight d3 was a silly move. Computer doesn't really like that either. Heyo, I had tactics, I see. Knight takes e5, the point of which if takes, bishop takes. Wait, what? d6 there, so I'm not sure what this is all about. d6 and then check here, right? Wow, I mean... There's no way I would have seen that. Okay, we go to the previously played line. I mean, the only game shown there was my game. Well, this game just that just ended. Well, f6 is a weird move. 4e5. b6 obviously, so that the bishop will threaten the pawn on e4. Let's say could move b5, however, well, probably good too. However, the score is quite favorable for white. But yeah, okay, let's see. Game a bit. Where was the... I mean, still... Okay, and I was in some trouble there, obviously. I'm worse. But then my opponent played bishop c7. It's sort of okay again. And d4 was bad. Wow. Just finding all the wrong moves, I guess. g3, castles, a4, rook, king b8, a5 takes. I wonder why the move king b8. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Well, actually it does make sense. Because if opponent does not take play that, I might have knight takes check here. And no, king b8 there, so I'm not... I don't know. Sleep deprived and can't think properly. Not a good combination. I'm pretty much destroying my rating, but okay. For queen e1, knight takes, b takes, and now e4. I mean, my opponent was completely winning there, basically, before this e4 blunder. Wow. Knight d2 wasn't a good move either. Should play d5. I didn't actually like d5 because then maybe b5 and this guy gets very weak. However, of course, it blocks the path of the bishop, so queen takes e4 would be possible. Wow. I wonder. Why just sacrifice bishop for just like that? Interesting. Wow. Very nice idea there. Bishop takes f6. Probably wouldn't seen that. These time controls. Queen e7. I should take this off because the only game it's referencing to is this game. That is really not helpful anymore. So queen e3. Another bad move. C takes. Even though I knew that this was bad, I thought that it wasn't this bad. I mean, wow. And again, another mistake. Let's see the point where... What? This false... Checkmate is now unavoidable. Wow, I mean... Whoops. So I guess my opponent deserved to win. I mean, most of the game my opponent was better, so just completely horrible. Made him 5, eh? But of course at this point I was trying to just make any moves basically. It's made him 1. Well, I would have had time maybe to play the move that mates my opponent. Shame that I did not have time to think about this. I mean, I would have had time, but had I used the time to actually notice this mate, my time might have run out, so before I could have actually done this, so in that sense my opponent was a bit lucky, but okay. Wow. Okay, until next time, bye bye.